Hello, my name is Sing Kwang, student from University of Malaya, studying science with education major in chemistry. So today we are gonna discuss about salt. What is actually salt? Salt is an ionic compound formed when the hydrogen ion from an acid is replaced by metal ion or ammonium ion. So that is the definition for salt. Now I will gonna discuss about the soluble and insoluble salts. Do you know salt can be classified as soluble and insoluble salt? I think you are probably don't know because you are think all salt are soluble in water. But that is not true because salt usually or we say definitely can be classified as into two categories, which is soluble in water and insoluble in water. So now we were gonna discover it. For sodium, potas- uh, sodium, potassium, and ammonium salt, they are all definitely soluble in water. For example, KCl, potassium chloride, NaCl, sodium chloride, and NH4, ammonium chloride. If you see these three, K, Na, and NH4, definitely the salt is soluble in water. So if you see these three, K, Na, and NH4, you will definitely choose the answer soluble salt because this is the only answer that you can choose. Because all the salt with K plus, Na plus, and NH4 plus is soluble in water. So for the case for NaO3 negative, NO3 negative is nitrate salt. So for nitrate salt, it is the same as sodium, potassium, and ammonium. So if you see NO3, for example, KNO3, uh, NaNO3, NH4NO3, or the metal that is not K or not Na, but PbNO3, BaNO3. This is all soluble salt. If you see NO3, if you see K, if you see Na, if you see NH4, they are all soluble salt. No other answer. You cannot choose insoluble because all four ion definitely will produce the soluble salt. So next we will go to the sulfate salt. Sulfate salt is SO4 2 negative. The salt consists of this SO4 2 negative ion. So if you see this SO4 2 negative salt, means for example PbSO4, BaSO4, CaSO4. These three are insoluble in water. So you need to remember PbC. PbC. P is for lead. Lead is Pb. B is for barium. Barium. C is for calcium. So lead, barium, calcium, PbC. These three salt, if you see for sulfate, is insoluble in water. But other than that, is soluble. So for sodium sulfate, Na2SO4, definitely it is a soluble salt. As I say, if you see Na, definitely the salt is soluble. So for sulfate case, the salt that is insoluble is these three. Just now I call you to memorize PbC. What is P? P is lead. B is barium. C is calcium. So for the case of chloride, is you need to memorize another what you say acronym such as PAH. P for lead, A for silver, H for mercury. PbCl2 is insoluble. AgCl, silver chloride. Silver chloride is also an insoluble salt. HgCl, HgCl is mercury chloride. Mercury chloride is also an insoluble salt. Mm. So as a quick recap, what is the insoluble salt? Quick recap. Think what is the insoluble salt for sulfate or chloride? For sulfate, the case is PbC, lead, sulfate, barium sulfate, calcium sulfate. And for the case of Cl, the insoluble salt is PbCl2, PaH, right? So A is AgCl. AgCl is silver chloride. HgCl is mercury chloride. These three are insoluble. Other than that, soluble. Remember, okay? You need to memorize these six insoluble salt because these six are exceptions for sulfate and chloride salt. And now we go to the carbonate salt. For the case of carbonate, you don't need to memorize the insoluble salt because what all the carbonate salt are definitely insoluble in water. But the three salt that for carbonate that are soluble in water are just now remember what I say. If you see K, if you see Na, if you see NH4, these three are definitely soluble in water. So all carbonate are insoluble for the K2CO3, Na2CO3, and NH42CO3 are soluble in water because what I say just now, K plus, Na plus, NH4 plus, if you see these three, they are definitely soluble in water. So for these three carbonate salt, they are also soluble in water. If you other than the metal ion from these three, they are all insoluble in water. This is for carbonate salt. So remember, for sulfate, we have PbC. For chloride, we have PaH for insoluble salt. But for carbonate, we have the three salt that are only soluble in water. Other than that, all are insoluble in water. So now you can classify the salt into soluble and insoluble salt. Now let's go to the preparation of salt. So there are three methods to prepare the salt. For example, titration method. So okay, you need to remember for titration method, you can only apply for sodium, potassium, and ammonium salt only. Other than that, cannot use titration method. Okay, what is titration method? Titration method is you use the pipette, the long pipe, like pipe lah, but it is known as pipette. So the long one, and the bottom you put the uh what you say, the NaCl or NaOH. So the top one you put acid, the bottom one you put the uh base. So you, if the reaction for basic and base, you will produce the salt. But because you see from the definition, the salt is an ionic compound formed when the hydrogen ion from an acid. So you need an acid and also the base. Base is like NaOH. So it's replaced by metal ion. So the metal ion here for NaOH is sodium. So the metal ion is Na. So if your acid is hydrochloric acid, for example, HCl. If you got HCl, then the hydrogen ion is replaced by sodium to produce sodium chloride. Then the sodium chloride is a salt. Uh, and the NaOH is the base. The NaOH is the base. HCl is acid. So the reaction for base and acid, you will produce the salt and water. So the titration method is definitely for potassium, sodium, and ammonium salt only. So what if the metal ion is not K plus, Na plus, and NH4 plus? You got another four method to prepare your salt. For example, if you got metal oxide plus acid, you will produce salt and water. So metal oxide, for example, mm, FeO, iron oxide, FeO3, iron FeO3. Sorry, F Fe got 2 plus and 3 plus. So FeO. FeO is iron 2 oxide. Iron 2 oxide react with acid such as HCl. FeO plus HCl, you will produce FeCl2 and the water H2O. Ah, so the metal oxide other than K plus, you can use Fe. Fe is iron. Iron got two ion because I got iron 2, iron 3. So you can got iron 2 ion, iron 2 oxide, iron 3 oxide, or copper 2 oxide, or copper copper oxide. Copper oxide is copper 1 oxide, but definitely we will say copper oxide. It's better to pronounce that lah. So you will produce salt and water for metal oxide reaction between metal oxide and acid. But then for carbonate salt, not carbonate salt, for metal carbonate. For example, mm, mm, okay, lead carbonate PbCO3 and acid like HCl. You will produce the salt which is mm, metal carbonate. Just now I say the metal. Let me remind. So you got the metal carbonate like Pb. Okay, yeah, Pb. So you will produce the salt PbCl2. So we know PbCl2 is insoluble salt. So and the plus water H2O and CO2 carbon dioxide. So for carbonate salt, you will produce carbon dioxide as the byproduct. So for metal hydroxide plus acid, you will produce salt and water. For metal and acid, you will produce salt and hydrogen gas. This is the case for those metal ion that is not K plus, Na plus, and NH4 plus. Okay, so this is four method to prepare the salt for not K plus, Na plus, and NH4 plus. So for the insoluble salt, sorry, just now the metal carbonate, I cannot use PbCO3 because the insoluble salt, well, we will have the another method, which is the last one, double decomposition reaction. You cannot use metal carbonate like PbCO3 to produce the PbCl2 because you got another method to produce the insoluble salt. So for the metal PbCO3 just now, sorry for the misconceptions or misunderstanding for me because that salt are not gonna to produce PbCl2. You will not produce PbCl2 for that reaction. You will get a PbCl2 by the decomposition reaction, which is the last method to prepare your salt. So this is the example reactions: Na2SO4 and PbNO3 bracket 2. Okay, so PbNO3 bracket 2, the salt is soluble or insoluble? Quick recap. So if you recap, I say all the NO3 negative nitrate salt are soluble. So this is the soluble salt. And Na2SO4, this is also soluble salt. So these two salts are soluble. Remember the double decomposition reaction, you need to have two soluble salt. So these two salts are soluble. First soluble, but after that, you will produce one soluble and another one is insoluble. For example, PbSO4. Remember the PBC. So PBC, P for lead. So if you see sulfate, lead sulfate, you will get the insoluble salt. So PbSO4 is definitely a insoluble salt. Then NaNO2, NaNO3. NaNO3 is a soluble salt because you see NO3. This is the tips for you to analyze the salt, which is soluble and insoluble. So for the exam, they will probably give you the salt uh and ask you the question about is this salt soluble in water, or they give you four salts and say uh choose the salt that are soluble in water. One, two, three, four. So you choose. So if you see NO3, definitely this is insoluble, soluble salt. And you see PB bracket NO3 2. This is also soluble salt. Uh, for the insoluble salt, you need to memorize only six. And all the carbonate CO3, mm, then you will be able to score the part for soluble and insoluble salt. Because there is only six insoluble salt, which is three for sulfate salt and three for chloride salt. So for sulfate salt, you will have PBC. For chloride salt, you will have PAH. So and other all CO3 are insoluble, except what the three ion that I say just in the beginning. K plus, Na plus, and NH4 plus. These three ions are definitely soluble in water. So you need to remember little thing only: PBC, PAH, and all CO3 are insoluble in water. These are the things that you need to memorize: PBC, PAH, and CO3. All CO3 except K plus, Na plus, and his 4 plus. So the salt definitely got color due to the transitions metal. The transitions metal is uh, iron 2, Fe2 plus, Fe3 plus, and copper 2 plus. So these three short salts definitely got color. For example, iron 2 plus is green, iron 3 plus is brown, and copper 2 plus is blue. This color you also need to memorize. Because the exam will definitely ask the uh, color of the salt. So other salts are white in color, as besides the iron 2, iron 3, and copper 2, other salts are white. So iron 2 is green, iron 3 is brown, copper 2 is blue. Remember, please remember, because if you see Cu salt are definitely blue in color. Fe Fe3 plus salt means if you see Fe, mm, for example, FeCl3. FeCl3 is iron 3 salt. Uh, iron 3 chloride salt means iron 3 chloride. Iron 3 chloride is brown in color. So for FeCl2, iron 2 chloride is green color. So you need to memorize the color. Please remember the color. So the last one for the color is the copper 2 carbonate. But just now I say copper are blue in color. But for copper 2 carbonate are solid in green. This is the exceptions. Remember, this is the exceptions. In solid state, the copper 2 carbonate is green, but it is blue in precipitate form. So in in the end, the precipitate also end in blue color. So remember, just remember, all the copper are blue except solid state is green. Solid state is green. All the copper is blue in color except the solid state of copper 2 carbonate is green. But the precipitate is blue. So just remember, all the copper 2 are blue in color. That is enough. Except what? Solid state in green. But not all solid state, For the solid state of copper 2 carbonate is green. Other are blue. So now we move on to heating of salts. So if you heating of salt can classify into four categories. Heating of carbonate salt. So all the carbonate salt will decompose to produce metal oxide and carbon dioxide. So you remember, I teach you one tips to recognize the heating of salt. If the salt you heat will produce carbon dioxide, that is definitely carbonate salt. Okay, if you heat the salt and the salt produce carbon dioxide, then the salt is carbonate salt. Okay, then if you heat the nitrate salt, then the nitrogen dioxide, the brown gas is produced. So when the question say brown gas is produced, means this is nitrate salt. This is nitrate salt when the question say brown gas is produced. So carbon dioxide is carbonate salt. Brown gas produced is nitrate salt, or you can say nitrogen dioxide produced is nitrate salt. So that is two tips for you to recognize the heating of salt. Because sometimes the question will say when the salt is heated, carbon dioxide is produced. So carbon dioxide is produced means the salt is carbonate. Means that got CO3 2 negative. Okay? If nitrogen dioxide is produced means brown gas is produced, the nitrate ion is there. Means NO3 negative salt. This is definitely the NO3 negative salt. Okay? So all chloride salt are do not decompose except the ammonium chloride. Okay? All the chloride salt do not decompose. They will not produce any product except ammonium chloride. Okay? You can search the chemical reactions for heating of ammonium chloride salt. Sorry, I didn't put it on here, but just remember all the chloride salt does not decompose. Okay? Then we move to the sulfate salt. Ah, so just now I say the transitions metal got the color. This iron 2 plus, iron 3 plus, copper 2 plus, all got color. So for here, if you heat, I give the example only these three are the example. If you heat the iron sulfate, you will produce iron oxide and sulfur dioxide, and also sulfur trioxide. This are the very special for iron 2 sulfate. Okay, very special for iron 2 sulfate because that is SO2 will produce. Other than that, will produce SO3, SO3. Okay, so the iron 2 oxide Fe2O3 is what color? So remember just now I say if you see iron 2 ion Fe2 Fe oh sorry, this is iron 3 oxide. So how you can determine iron 3 oxide? Okay, I teach you because Fe 3 plus with O negative O2 negative. Okay, the 2 negative will move to the Fe2 here. So Fe2 because the 2 come from the 2 negative O2 negative. So the 2 negative come down to the Fe here. So for the 3 plus of Fe, so the 3 plus will move to the O there. So you will produce the iron 3 oxide, which is Fe2O3. So the iron 3 oxide is what color? Brown color. Fe, FeO, iron 2 oxide. FeO is green color. But this is Fe2O3, so this is brown color. And for copper sulfate, CuSO4, copper sulfate will produce copper oxide and SO3. So copper oxide is no color, so it's white precipitate. Oh? Okay, copper, sorry, copper 2 oxide. So copper 2 oxide is also blue color because I say all the copper 2 are blue in color. Okay, remember all the copper are blue in color. So for the last one, zinc or sulfate, zinc oxide and SO3 will be produced. So for zinc oxide, the color is yellow when hot and white when cold. This is you need to memorize yellow when hot, white when cool for zinc oxide. Okay, for zinc oxide you need to memorize this. So for copper 2 oxide, oh sorry, I make a mistake again. So for copper 2 oxide, CuO is black in color. So make a small conclusions here. If you see all copper ion, means all the copper 2 ion is blue in color, but exceptions for the solid state are green. For copper 2 carbonate, the solid state are green. For the copper 2 oxide is black. So only these two will produce different color, but all other Cu will produce blue. Okay, this is the uh, summary for copper ion, copper 2 ion, Cu2 plus. So if you see copper 2 carbonate CO3 in solid state is green, precipitate is blue. For copper oxide is black. So when the questions are asked, what is the salt? What is the salt when the copper oxide produced is black? So when the copper oxide produced is black, this is definitely the copper salt. So you will know there is Cu2 plus ion there. So you can know the Cu2 plus there. So if black solid is produced is copper, you know that is copper ion. Okay, that is copper ion. So if okay, then they say the heating of salt produce sodium trioxide gas. So this sodium trioxide gas is SO4. So you will know the salt is copper 2 sulfate. So this is how you can analyze the salt. Okay, this is how you can analyze the salt when the by heating of salt and also seeing the product produced. For example, when the salt is heat, acidic gas is produced. Acidic gas is SO3. Okay, this SO3 gas is acidic. So if the question say acidic gas is produced, means this is the sulfate salt. If say brown gas is produced, so this is a nitrate salt. It's, they say carbon dioxide is produced, so this is the carbonate salt. So other than that, this is the chart for you to analyze s- the cation of the salts. Ah, here also we need to memorize the color of the salt. I mean the metal oxide. So just now we say copper 2 oxide is black. So please remember FeO is iron 2 oxide. It's green. Just now I say iron 2 ion is green in color. So Fe2O3 is iron 3 oxide. Iron 3 oxide is brown in color. Okay? So just now the example already got this. The zinc oxide, yellow when hot, white when cold. So for lead oxide, brown when hot and yellow when cold. This also you need to memorize. For chemistry, it's all about memorizing. So that is chemistry. Mm. So that is another two part for you to analyze the salt, which is the testing for cation and also the testing for anion. So we will not discuss it now. I hope you can read it by yourself and see you in the next video. Thank you. Bye.